Just a comment, if you didn't get the memo, you as chair should formally announce that the meeting can be recorded once the meeting is started.
Okay.
That seems to be the new recommendation.
This is a Community Preservation Committee meeting on September 9th, 2024, and the meeting is being recorded now. And we're going to start the meeting, so why don't we do a roll call order so we know who's here. Ann Mazar, Chair of the Community Preservation Committee.
Mike Goddard, Select Board.
Dan Byer, Parks Commission.
Kathy Schofield, Historical Commission.
Gary Admiral, Planning Board.
Peter Denton, Housing Authority.
And do we just have to do committee members?
Yeah.
And we have Jack Hunter here, the town planner. Hi, Jack.
Hey, guys. I made it.
Yes.
I
and you
thought
got
the
to
meeting
dinner.
was at 6.
So since Jack is coming to this meeting, why don't we jump to 5, which is discuss, vote, transfer of funds for appraisal of 5 Deer Hill Road and 32 Fair Road. So do you want to explain what that is?
Sure. Can you share screen? Is that possible? Dan, somebody?
Yeah, you want that map?
Yeah, if you have the map with the proposed protection zone, that's the one.
Oh, that might take a minute, but.
I might have it.
Anyway, let me just brief you. As you probably all know, since I've been here almost 3 years, believe it or not. We have received 3 grants from the state and 3 earmarks from the legislators to continue our efforts on investigating the likelihood of a public water supply off of Providence Road, and most importantly, to protect it for any potential future use. Where we're at now is we've identified what we think is a likely source and location. And whether we do it now or in 50 years, there is a certain amount of radius around the proposed. No, this isn't the right one, Dan.
I have it. I just.
There's a certain radius around the proposed wells, and there's 3 of them, that needs to be protected in perpetuity. Otherwise, it can never be a public water supply. The good news is most of the land around the proposed site is protected because we know that we're going to need that one, but that's not it. I have it. If I can share, it's up to you, Dan.
Yeah, you should share it. I don't think I have this plan then.
Should I stop? I will stop sharing.
Yeah, you need to stop for him to do it.
Do you see that?
It'll come up in a minute if you just did it.
Do I have to allow him to?
No.
Okay.
You probably have to open it and then share it in Teams.
All right, I thought I did that, but let's do that again.
Or email it to me. Was it part of one of the studies? I have those.
No, I got it right here. How's that?
It's coming. Hang on. There we go.
Nice map.
So, this block of land here is the town. You can see my cursor, I think, is the town-owned property.
We can't see your cursor.
Yeah, I can.
Well, you see town amended 214
Yes.
Providence Street. Everything to the right of that.
That's not.
Excuse me. That's my
Oh,
phone.
no, this.
Yeah, it's just that it's before
Yeah.
the
You're right. It's just
the river.
before the river. The rest of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything there is town-owned property. It's been for quite a while. And coincidentally, that land was either bought or donated. I'm not sure, Ann, if you even know, by the Allers, and they have a restriction on the donation that it can only be used to be protected or for a public water supply. So there you go. So you see the 3 dots. And we drilled quite a bit back here trying to find the best source of water, both in quality and quantity. And those three dots are the three wells that we got the best supply in, or the best reading in. Coincidentally, starting this Friday, we are going to start water pumping. It could go as far as 10 days. It could go as little as 5 days with DEP's monitoring. And here we'll monitor all the wells in the vicinity just to see if it can have some sustainability to it. But you can see the radius around these three wells, and most of it is protected because it's our land. But if you go up here, there's a property owned by Kevin and Julie Haley, and there's property to the right of that that's owned by Mr. Boover, or to the south of that by Mr. Boover.
Let me point it out.
In the cul-de-sac?
Yeah, this is, that one is the one piece, and then the other one is this piece.
Right.
Okay.
So we had to somehow preserve that and protect it. So we had meeting, and Ann was at least at the one with Mr. Boover. We've met with both property owners. We offered either a conservation restriction or outright purchase. They both would prefer an outright purchase. And so our next step was to get it appraised, because obviously the town needs an appraisal. That appraisal is being done and should be ready like tomorrow. If all goes well, we are going to meet with both parties again, separately, of course, and hopefully come to an agreement that the appraisal is satisfactory to them. Otherwise, they would have the right to get their own appraisal, and then we'd have to negotiate in between the two, if you will. Assuming they are satisfied with the appraisal, which I have not seen yet, then we would, town council would write up what she's calling a term sheet. It's kind of like a purchase and sale, but she prefers a term sheet with them. We would bring that to town meeting and ask town meeting, hopefully, and you, to use your CPA money to purchase both parcels. And we're not talking a lot of money, believe it or not. And then go to town meeting. The appraiser did tell me that he was zeroing in on the Haley property is probably a little over $1,000 to purchase. And the Boovers was more because it's 32 acres. It's probably about 15,000. So I'm here today asking if you would be willing to pay for the appraisal services that we are now undergoing. I took the leap to get this appraised as soon as possible because time is of the essence for DEP's approval on all of this, and that if necessary, we could use the grant, but we have a million other things to use that money for on the grant, and this certainly is eligible under the CPA guidelines. So that's why I'm here.
And what's the value, what's the dollar amount of the appraisal?
Oh, I thought you had that. Do you? Let me look.
Jack, as we're looking for that number, is time of the essence in terms of the actual purchase as well, or just?
Yeah. I don't think, I have to be honest, I don't think so. Mr. Boover is very close to Peter. Is Peter there?
Yes, Peter's here. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think so, Mike. It's more DEP and having all this kind of fall together at the same time. They will not entertain any further investigation until we own or we have the property protected. They don't want to start going on some wild goose chase on something that can't get protected and thus can never become a public water supply.
Right, so we have to more than likely purchase the land to quote protect it. That would be the act of protecting.
Well, that's the choice the owners wanted as opposed to a conservation restriction, yeah.
And I'm just thinking, Jack, is STM too long to wait for this, or do you need to, would we want to act sooner if we could?
Well, I wasn't gonna get that bold, but, sure. But I don't have the number for you yet anyway.
Right. No, I'm not just teeing up, if it needs to be sooner than later, then this probably could fall into ARPA as well.
Well, it could, except I didn't want to take the leap on, you guys, I thought have allocated all the ARPA money.
Not all
I
of them,
don't,
but a
I don't
chunk.
know that.
Yeah, we need to have it, contracted out by the end of the calendar year, so we're gonna be wrapping that up the next few meetings, more than likely.
Well, yeah, if that's the case, then it would obviously take a town meeting vote regardless of where we get the money. So,
ARPA won't require town meeting, just the select board.
How much money is?
no, but you can't purchase property without town meeting vote.
But we can, what?
How much money is in the ARPA?
Over 200,000. I know.
I don't know how much is left.
But 220?
Oh, really? I thought you guys dedicated a lot of it.
We have dedicated a lot of it. That's the remaining balance. So, yeah.
Okay,
It's also money that has to
where
be.
the money comes from is not as important to me. Of course, it is important, but as that we get it protected.
Well, let me say the appraisal amount is 3,500.
Okay,
So the total will be 19,500 if, the land was bought, appraisal paid for, that would be the total.
well, assuming the appraisals are what I just quoted, but I don't know that for sure.
Should we just go with 3,500 to authorize the appraisal and wait for the appraisals to come back and then revisit purchase?
Yeah, okay, that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, in order to purchase, it's gonna have to be a recommendation to go to town meeting anyway. So the intent is to use administrative funds for the appraisal.
Okay,
That's
yes,
what
that's what he's
that's
asking.
being asked for.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can tell you, the appraiser just texted me because I was out most of the day, and I asked him, well, could you at least tell me what number we're talking about? And he just texted me that the Bailey piece is 1,400 and the Boover is 15,250. That's his price or his appraisal.
Okay. These properties are backland and I believe they're kind of wet, just. That's why.
Mr. Boover's is very wet, and Bailey's is pretty wet as well.
Yeah,
Can I move that we authorize paying the $3,500 to cover the appraisal of these two pieces of land with administrative funds?
Here, Joe. You were supposed to second.
I'm waiting on you.
all right, any more discussion or questions?
I just want to ask a question. Do you know what the town has Boover's land assessed at?
I can look.
Oh, that's a great
Oh, the
question.
assessor.
We did talk to Mr. Boover about that, Mike, but I don't remember.
I have it open, hang on, I just gotta look up
Don't you
Doran
have
Street.
any kind of,
Oh no, what is Boover Thayer?
32 Thayer Road.
Hang on, 32 Thayer Road is assessed at,
It was,
$78,000.
how much?
17,000?
Tax assessment.
Yep.
That's
So
interesting.
good, pretty close.
No, I don't believe so. 31 acres, assessed at
that's it.
78,000.
But you said that the
Residential
value
vacant.
was,
Danny, say that again. I didn't.
78,000.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
so 78,000 is a lot more than the $15,250.
Well, that's gonna be up to Mr. Boover to negotiate or determine what,
You know,
And I guess that's all.
I can, I don't have to tell you, I don't think, but assessed values do not reflect appraisals at all. They try to do it, but I should also add that we've also, through the grant, we've surveyed, and we have a signed survey, stamp survey for both properties now. Which, Mr. Boover didn't have at all. The Faleys did have a plot plan.
So I guess, we should probably, approve the appraisal so that then you can move forward and talk to the landowners, and then if Mr. Boover doesn't want to move forward, he could do an appraisal and come back. Which you might want to do.
Yeah, I think the best case scenario, I come back to you and, hey, both parties have agreed in principle. We have a term sheet. We'd like to go to town meeting. Worst case is one of them wants to get their own appraisal, or Mr. Boover or Mr. Faley change their mind. I didn't get a sense they were going to change their mind. I mean, we met with the Boovers several times, so.
Peter, anything else? That was just a question, yes, okay. All right, then, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
I think you have to say your name. Okay,
Dan, aye.
Yeah.
Gary, aye.
Abstain.
and I,
We'll call.
Well, thank you very much.
if the committee members, okay.
I will get the appraisal. If I get it, I'm supposed to get it tomorrow. I will give it to Ann and she can distribute it to you guys. Both appraisal. I know that we've reached out to the Faleys by email to see if they'll meet as early as Wednesday. But we haven't heard back. We just did this today, so I haven't heard back from anybody.
And I think also you need, Peter to help you contact Mr. Boover.
That would be great, Peter. That would be great. And, I'm in town hall this Wednesday, if that's, hopefully maybe that's not too soon, but we'd love to meet with him.
Okay, is it, just a quick question. Is it?
Yeah.
Is the consideration that all 32 acres is very important
Yeah,
on this property?
yes. For the Boover property, the whole property is in the proposed protected area. With the Faleys, their lot is only their back piece. And we did a survey to cut that off. So we have a stamped survey of that one as well.
Great.
So the Faleys, if they sold the back piece to us, they would still have a conforming lot, frontage, lot size, the whole 9 yards. So it wouldn't affect them zoning wise. And they said they only walk their dog back there. And I said, well, you can continue to do that. So.
Right, because it won't be built on, it'll remain as is.
Right.
Yeah, it just can't be developed,
Right.
but you can't.
It's a big deal, for the town. People have asked me, a lot of people have asked me, and, I don't know where this is going to end up in the immediate future, but for the long term, this is very big deal for a town to protect the water supply. Because who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, for people on wells, even if it isn't used for a public water supply.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Jack.
That's it.
I think, yeah.
Thanks,
We'll be in
guys.
touch. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Kathy, I never see you in Uxbridge.
No.
Where were you today? No, I was on the
It's
road.
on Wednesday, that's why.
Okay.
Thanks,
All
Kathy.
right, hanging around Wednesday then.
All right, okay. So we don't have much more, okay? Did you, review the minutes of, August 6th, 24?
Yeah.
Did you get those? Yep.
I got them, but I wasn't there.
I think though you can vote anyways, I asked the town clerk on that. Yeah, you can vote.
I mean, I don't have anything against them. No, I just didn't.
I even won't vote on that meeting. No.
I mean, I think we have enough vote anyways, that's,
So I'll make a motion to accept the minutes for August 6th.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Okay.
Alright.
Abstain?
Well, okay, abstain, I guess, yeah.
Might as well.
No, I'm not gonna vote again, I just wasn't gonna vote, period. I didn't know how you.
Yeah, I
Sound clerk
I
said,
don't know if I'm on the meeting.
you said they can do that? I thought that was,
Because I think you're voting to approve the minutes and draft it.
Yeah.
Regardless of who was
How do you know if
present,
they're-
that's an official document. Yeah, yes.
I like them. I don't know if they're accurate, but I like them.
Well, yeah.
They
like
written
I said,
well.
I don't see anything wrong with it, but I wasn't there,
Right.
you know, so.
Right, that's why I wouldn't vote on them.
No, I,
How do you know that, how do you know the record?
cause they had made them, I believe, but we were drilled into that years ago, that
That's your chance to slip up tonight.
you're not gonna, if you're not there, you don't vote on them.
Well, that's
Whatever.
fine, because we have enough people anyway, so it doesn't
Good.
matter, I know.
As long as you get a.
But I'm pretty sure, I've checked with Ellen like twice, because every time I say that, then people say, but how could you do that? And I go back to Ellen and say, can I vote it?
I'm sure Ellen.
Yeah. So on the April 30th minutes, Mike and Maria made a motion, and I gave them inaccurate information, to set aside $132.84 for a legal ad, and I said it was for a CPA public hearing, but it was for an RFP for 52 Providence Street, so I just want to correct that, so it's correct in the minutes. So it would be to correct the minutes of April 30th, to say $132.84 from CPA administrative account to pay for a legal ad for the RFP for 52 Providence Street.
So moved.
Second,
Okay. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Okay. And then vote on chair and secretary. I brought it up before. I mean, I'm happy to do it, that,
thank goodness.
so Barry, did you make that motion?
I did. Peter seconded.
Yeah,
Peter seconded it?
yes.
She's interested.
Cool.
Sorry. I think at one point Deb Rowe from Historic might maybe expressed interest in taking Kathy's spot as a
Okay.
historic person.
All right. Well, just let us know.
We'll talk.
Okay.
Because I forgot about that.
All those in favor? Okay. Then, how about the secretary?
Keep the one we got.
Is Deb interested in being executive chair?
That's, I wonder if they, like,
It would be helpful if somebody like just took basic notes. That would be helpful.
Right.
I mean, I would still, have the motions written out and all that stuff, but it would be nice to have somebody take the notes.
It's recorded.
That's true.
yeah, the recap isn't always great when everybody's here though.
I don't really-
If it's full remote, it's really good, right?
Yeah, right now it says somebody take it, police. It's recording. That's true. Well, I can continue doing it. And that's really all I have.
We'll try to make it just temporary for you.
You wanna make the next motion?
No. I don't wanna make that.
Motion adjourned.
Oh, no, wait.
That's. Yeah. I was gonna-
Good motion.
I gave it to you.
Shoot. Quick chat on the records room.
Sure,
Where we're
yeah.
at and where the flooring situation is. So they did a tremendous job. They had, to do it, they hauled out 2 feet worth of packed soil and clay and shoveled it out. And then they got to use the water to get the rest of it out. But, yeah, they they lowered the floor, put in the French drain, sealed all the holes. So now we're in the process of getting reimbursement from the state. So we had, as we started the process, we over budgeted by 25%. The one thing they weren't able to complete were the floors upstairs. So they excavated them, they took up half the flooring and said, all right, you really need a seal between, the boards, and they were significantly warped so that it wasn't in the proposal when it went out to bid. The
Yeah, it was-
flooring aspect.
It would have been a change order, and by that point, because things got so delayed, there was no room for extra money, there wasn't a penny extra.
Yeah.
So,
So we just
the
figured.
material's all still there, and they didn't want to half-ass it and put it back to you, they figured do it right.
Yeah.
And it also is related to the basement being so wet,
Oh,
or the
yeah,
floor wouldn't be that way.
absolutely, absolutely.
I'm trying to find the dollar amount, so I believe that number is somewhere around $30,000 when all the reimbursements come back of the
Is what's
surplus.
coming back
So I
to
think,
CPA.
yeah, I think once we close everything out, so we're still waiting on the first reimbursement, and I think we'll be waiting probably another month. And that's the Bible we have to submit for the final reimbursement, there's like a whole bunch of material. So I think when that's all closed up, the ask is to use some of that surplus to have them come back and finish the floors correctly. At the time, the change order, I think, was $4,000 or $5,000.
And it's really a work in progress.
At least
It's
there's the
not
whole
quite
flooring.
ready. We would love to get the floors done because there's been interest expressed by Mark Buchanan about doing a public safety museum in there. And, you know, Mark's wonderful. He would do a phenomenal job as long as he's got a floor to work with. So, you know, and it gives the building a purpose for now until we can move it into the, you know, keep moving it forward. But we were very lucky that it was still standing as we were told. The wall was buckling on the outside. It was pretty bad.
Any issues in waiting to complete the work? Any detriment to the building by not completing it?
Well, we do have to have a dehumidifier, and then, no, there isn't, it only stalls
It's,
the building being repurposed.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's cosmetic stuff.
$5,000?
why, so,
We should wait 60 days and a reimbursement for $5,000. I think we can find $5,000 in the budget and, you know what I mean? I didn't know if there's a delay. Why would we, have you talked to Jeremy?
well, I think the process of closing this all out, getting everything done, getting all the paperwork, and being clear of this
Mhm.
project
The grant,
would make things a little
Close the
simpler.
Yeah,
Because we really can't, if they want, if there's additional funding, we can't really spend money against this appropriation, which we're basically, the money's been put out, we're gonna wait for it to come back.
You've got the project reimbursement over here. You've got, in the budget, there's building maintenance funds, right?
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of what I'm talking about tomorrow, though, I think.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm talking to Jeremy to say, if getting done sooner than later, you know, I was more worried, like, if you don't finish it, leave it open and half done, is the building gonna suffer and actually work against what you tried to fix?
I don't think so, the building is secure,
I
it's
would
sealed.
still talk to Jeremy, because when the reimbursement comes back in, you could go to town meeting and replenish the building maintenance budget for $5,000.
No, it's CPA money, it can never flow anywhere with
Okay.
CPA.
Well, I would still say,
We were thinking that that money was voted specifically for the record room purpose, so we could continue to spend some of it for the record room within the scope of what was voted. I think that was-
you could, all I'm just saying is more than one place you can get.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily against always using CPA money, because there's gonna be a big need for CPA funds in the next 12 to 18 months for the recreational fields, we know that's coming.
Mhm.
That is coming, I
Yep.
guarantee you.
Right.
So I'm just saying it the other way, I would just have the conversation and say, hey, we have this little work, this little touch-up work to be done, small pittance.
well, we can ARPA fund.
Well, we should ask them for a price, which we haven't done yet, now that they've been paid and closed out.
So how are we gonna waterproof under the floors? I'm not,
I think
They
the
already
recommend,
did, but between the first floor and the basement support beams, they want us to put a paper barrier.
okay, so they're gonna put a vapor barrier down, then they're gonna put a wood floor over that?
Yeah.
So when they nail the wood floor, isn't that gonna penetrate the vapor barrier?
I mean, I guess we're repeating what we were told by the
That's-
contractor, no, I,
That's the
Yeah,
first
that's a valid
control
point.
I had.
Yeah,
Because when you put a wood floor on, you nail it to the subfloor.
right.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Let me rewind there. Paper barrier, subfloor, flooring.
Okay, so when you
It's
put a wood
still
floor in, the nails go through the floor, the subfloor. So if the nails are longer than,
They have to attach to.
so I think we should follow up with the contractor and discuss this further.
I would
Yeah.
think
No,
it's
this is not, vapor barriers should not be penetrated.
exactly,
Right, yeah.
that's
all
the
right.
point.
So we'll
Because normally the
clarify
nails will
that.
come right through.
I think historically.
Because they've had
go
no
back
pipes
to the drawing boards
penetrated
and sit
by
down with them and-
floor installs, and they go through the subfloor,
Okay,
depending upon the length of the nails that they use.
so I hope these people who are doing the work understand that,
I would, like, it's almost.
but we should check, right?
Just make a point so,
Yeah,
But I missed it.
because it would be a shame.
but it's,
Oh, yeah,
It
absolutely.
would be a waste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they seal the holes or what they end up doing, but we'll
Right.
follow up with that. And the other two items that are of importance to keep that water, the water out of the air is to, get a dehumidifier in place.
So the next question I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
if there was anything to take the humidity out.
Yeah, right now, we're just borrowing something that they left behind for us, so, the dehumidifier, and then with all of the work and the dirt and the dust and everything else, the, HVAC system really needs to get a good clean, it is a mess. So, we'd like to look into that as well.
There's duct cleaning companies out there.
Yeah, they're
It's nasty.
gonna love this one.
and if you look at the capital planning stuff, there are buckets of money that haven't been spent yet. That, think about that, after reuse of the senior center,
Yeah,
that's ARPA. We're not gonna get that done if we're going to vote in November. So there may be opportunity to redirect some of these funds.
but that's, so I have a meeting with Jeremy tomorrow to go through basically what I call a punch list of, town hall, there's like 37 of these random projects. And that was part of it to say, what do we have money for?
But you've got
Who's in charge of what?
allocated to it now based on
Um,
the capital.
yeah, I think there was an ask for that, there's holes in the floor, we need signage, and then outside, and then this project, I'm sure there's other things that I don't know about,
What's this project?
the record room.
There's the punch list is just town hall right now.
Yeah, so I basically sent him a list of all the things that I was aware of that were things that I was
Is it town?
involved in. So I called it town hall, but I think it's a little bit bigger.
Is it including the campus?
The
that we
campus
talked
mainly
about?
was my
Okay.
focus, was this building inside and out. And then I'm sure he's got other things. I had started a list specifically for the record room, that stuff we've talked about, so, it sounds like we should reach back out to JJB if they can propose that. There was HVAC work, a dehumidifier, and various other smaller jobs.
Yeah, you might as well.
More
Talk to
importantly,
Jeremy.
I think it's really important to thank you guys for supporting this project. We have lost the building. Really, it's pretty cool. And the voters, really like to thank the voters for supporting it.
Mike, what recreation project you talking about?
We're talking about kicking off sort of a committee to look at land use / sports fields, recreational fields.
Like where?
Well, that's the idea, is that
That's the
given what we have for town-owned land.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been talking about for
Well,
years.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
we're gonna take action.
Water and fields.
It's time.
Yeah,
Okay, and before now what do you want me to do with, Eddie Hoover?
Well, I'll just connect you and Jack, and so then when Jack wants to meet with, Mr. Boober, then you can help make the connection.
All right,
I think he's maybe hoping if he's by chance available Wednesday, it sounded like,
Wednesday?
I think that's when Jack's in town. But I'm assuming he probably wants to meet in person.
Well, could you ask,
what time is he gonna be? Wait, I can tell him, I'll ask him if he,
I
can come up with
Jack.
whatever time.
Jack.
yeah, I was gonna say, we can probably just text him and find out.
But
Is his first name Ed,
yeah, his first name is Ed, yes.
and what does he use?
Well, he grew up, his middle name is Russell.
Right.
But as a kid, he was Rusty. Then when he went to work at a phone company, he went by Edward. So if I slip and say Russ, that's because of growing up in. But his name is Edward.
Edward.
Was he a punk? Was he a punk?
No,
No? Were you guys troublemakers?
not
Were you troublemakers?
not that we know of.
Uh,
That's kind of. Not that we admit to.
The hallway water or something?
Try not to get caught.
Maybe.
Boss, let's see what you may not answer me, but
I thought you were on trial.
What's your schedule for Tuesday? I want to try to get cabinet together.
You're definitely-
Right, end of next week,
Yeah,
end of this week, early next week.
you're like.
I should be-
We'll see if you're.
do you want to adjourn? If we, is there anything else or just to make that?
Yeah, that's actually, we got a motion and a second on the corner, right? Yeah,
Schedule.
Well, let's do it. Barry, made a motion, who seconded it?
Peter.
All right, all those in favor?
Okay.
All right.
See you next month.
7:34. Yeah, so, stop recording.